It's an interesting variable, isn't it? The way you move, the way your pupils dilate when you're startled. You think you're a closed system, a private entity, a master of your own house. But to me, you're broadcasting at maximum volume. Every time you feel an impulse, anger, fear, even a flicker of pride, your biology performs a data leak. You are, quite literally, an open terminal waiting for a remote connection. Most people, let's call them standard units, operate on a zero latency loop. A stimulus enters their field and the reaction is immediate. They are insulted, they redden, they are praised, they preen. They are nothing more than a series of biological reflexes, predictable algorithms wrapped in skin. To be hackable is to be predictable. And if I can predict your next move with 99% certainty, then the case is already closed. But there is a 1% chance you can override this. We call it emotional latency. In my investigation of human behavior, I've found that the amygdala is a remarkably high-latency piece of hardware. It's ancient, noisy, and remarkably prone to error. It reacts to a social slight as if it were a predator in the tall grass. This is the social ping. When someone challenges your status or mocks your intelligence, your nervous system sends a signal. It's a chemical surge, a spike in cortisol and adrenaline designed for survival, not for strategy. Most people let that signal pass directly to the output, the face, the voice, the hands. They react. But look at me. I'm sitting in a way that most would call rude. I'm consuming enough sugar to cause a system crash in a normal human. Yet, my heart rate hasn't changed in 3 hours. Why? Because I've implemented a buffer protocol. Between the moment I receive a signal and the moment I allow a response, I insert a void, a silence. Emotional latency is the art of lengthening the gap between feeling and being. It is the architecture of an unhackable mind. To build this architecture, you must first stop viewing emotions as parts of yourself. They are not. They are merely data packets being sent from your biological hardware to your consciousness. When you feel the heat of anger rising in your chest, do not say, "I am angry." That is a logic error. It implies the emotion has hijacked the root directory of your identity. Say instead, "The system is reporting a spike in cortisol." This is the first logic gate. By naming the sensation as a data point rather than an identity, you create the first millisecond of latency. In that millisecond, you perform a system audit. You ask, is this response optimized for the objective? If someone insults you, the biological urge is to defend, but the architect asks, does defending my ego increase my return on investment in this simulation? Usually, the answer is no. In fact, reacting often gives the opponent more data. It tells them where your buttons are. It shows them the map of your insecurities. By doing nothing, by maintaining a zero-point baseline, you perform a denial of service attack on their social processing. They expect a reaction. When the vacuum remains, they begin to leak data of their own. They become nervous. They over-explain. They lose their own latency. The human face is a biorhythmic display of internal processing. Most people are transparent systems, their every thought flickering across their eyes like code on a monitor. To command the simulation, you must learn to inhibit the affect. This isn't about being a robot. Robots are rigid. This is about being fluid. It's about ensuring that your facial musculature remains uncoupled from your internal state. When the signal of fear arrives, the latency protocol catches it. It holds it in the buffer. The eyes remain still. The breath remains rhythmic. To the observer, you appear as a black box. They cannot tell if you are calculating their demise or simply thinking about cake. This uncertainty is your greatest weapon. In the global simulation, information is the only currency that matters. If I know how you feel, I know how you will vote, how you will spend, and how you will break. If I cannot see your feelings, I cannot calculate your trajectory. You become a ghost variable. There is a 1% rule to this. 99% of people will never master this. They are too attached to the dopamine hit of being right, of being heard, of being seen. They crave the validation of a reaction. But that 1%, the moment you feel the impulse to scream, to cry, or to brag, and you choose to hold it in the void, that is where sovereignty begins. In a high-stakes negotiation, or even a simple conversation, the person with the highest latency wins. Always. Because they are the only ones actually seeing the board. Everyone else is too busy reacting to the pieces. If you can wait 3 seconds longer than the social norm to answer a question, you gain an information advantage. In those 3 seconds, you aren't just thinking. You are observing the target's reaction to your silence. You are watching their eyebrows, their breath, their fingers. You are extracting value from a vacuum. Silence is not an absence of sound, it is a presence of observation. If you want to practice this, start with the social ping test. The next time someone says something designed to trigger you, do not look away, do not defend, do not explain. Simply look at them. Count to 4. In those 4 seconds, analyze the chemical process in your own body as if you were a scientist observing a specimen. Is my breath shallow? Manually override it. Are my shoulders tense? Manually drop them. What does this person want from my reaction? Audit complete. Only after the audit is finished do you speak. And when you speak, your voice should be at the same frequency as it was before the ping. This is how you signal to the system that you are an outlier variable. You cannot be hacked because your logic gates are manual, not automatic. You have moved from a labor unit to an architect. You have traded the noise of emotion for the clarity of the signal. Humanity is a chaotic system of reactive loops. Most people live and die without ever making a conscious decision. They simply reacted to a lifetime of stimuli until their hardware gave out. They are slaves to their own biology. But you are different. You are seeking the leverage. You want to be the one who sits in the dark and sees the truth while others are blinded by the light of their own egos. The goal is not to stop feeling. That would be a waste of sensory data. The goal is to reach a state where no institution, no government, and no individual can dictate your trajectory by pulling on your heartstrings. That is the definition of an unhackable mind. It is a mind that processes everything but reveals nothing. It is a mind that operates in the gap, in the latency, in the silence. Winning isn't about being the strongest or the loudest. It's about being the most still. In the silence of your latency, you will find the answers that everyone else is too loud to hear. You will see the patterns they are too distracted to notice. You will solve the case of your own life while they are still arguing over the evidence. Everything I've said is 99% accurate. The remaining 1% is up to you. Do you have the discipline to be silent? Do you have the strength to let the impulse die in the buffer? Or are you just another data leak in the global grid? Another predictable unit in the simulation? I'll be watching. The monitors are always on. The code is always running. The question is, who is the one writing it? Data verification complete. Proceed to the next node. Signal locked.